You don't feel manipulated. You feel indebted. That's worse, because debt means agreement, and agreement means you surrendered something by choice. You call it gratitude, but somewhere inside, a ledger just opened, and in that moment, you moved from equal to owing. Not gratitude, accounting. Days later, they ask for something minor. You feel the shift before the words land. Your shoulders soften, your tone lowers half a degree. You explain more than necessary. You don't want to seem ungrateful. You don't want to appear difficult. You don't want the air to cool. So you say yes, and immediately after there's a faint recoil. You tell yourself it was reasonable, but it wasn't free. The favor never was. The moment you accepted it, a contract formed, not in writing, not spoken, but etched into posture.
You think guilt appears after refusal. It doesn't. It appears before, right at the edge of assertion. That tightening in your throat isn't kindness, it's conditioning. Here is the recognition. You feel guilty not because you did something wrong. You feel guilty because you are about to break an agreement you never consciously signed. And that agreement lives in the body. Watch the micro behavior. When they mention what they did for you, even casually, you nod faster. You lean forward. You over-clarify your constraints. You offer a smaller yes instead of a clean no. You are not responding to the request. You are responding to memory. And memory carries weight. Not logical weight, somatic weight. You feel it in the pause before you answer, in the split second where you scan their face. You are not evaluating the request. You are evaluating risk. Risk of disapproval. Risk of withdrawal. Risk of reclassification. That is what reciprocity debt threatens, not fairness. Status. When someone helps you, something shifts, not gratitude. Position. They rise in your internal map. You lower, slightly. Recipient. Owing. And once that shift happens, equality feels unstable. So when they ask later, your body answers before logic. You're not responding to the request. You're stabilizing rank. The trigger can be microscopic, a softened tone, a nostalgic reminder. That presentation we stayed up for. Your system tightens before your mind catches up. You don't want to appear above someone who once helped you, so you avoid refusal, because refusal implies parity, or worse, superiority. And that feels dangerous. Watch what happens when you imagine saying no. Your mind rehearses their reaction. You picture disappointment. You anticipate distance. You predict a future where support disappears. Your nervous system reads that prediction as threat. So you neutralize it. You agree. The agreement isn't about the task. It's about stabilizing rank. This is why high-competence people over-comply. They cannot tolerate appearing ungrateful. Their identity is built on fairness. But fairness without clarity becomes self-subordination. Watch the tell. The smile that lasts half a second too long. The second nod. The quick, "It's fine." That phrase is the hinge. Not agreement, pre-compliance. You lower friction before friction exists. And once your no requires cushioning, it is already weakened. Another shift happens quietly. You begin offering information no one requested. Schedule details, personal context, emotional framing. Why? Because transparency feels like sincerity. But in practice, it surrenders leverage. You're proving innocence in a trial that doesn't exist. And the more you explain, the more you confirm one thing. Your no requires justification. That is the turning point. When refusal requires justification, jurisdiction has already shifted. The favor did not create the debt. Your explanation did. Consider this inversion. Someone helps you move apartments. Months later, you ask for something unrelated.
They decline, calmly, briefly, without apology. Do you feel betrayed? Or do you accept it? Most likely you accept it, because you didn't help as a down payment. You helped because you chose to.
But you don't extend yourself the same assumption. You assume others help strategically, so you repay preemptively. Projection disguised as integrity. And it compounds. The more unstructured favors you accept, the more silent ledgers accumulate. You begin tracking who you owe. You adjust behavior accordingly. You grant priority access to those with credit. Gradually, your calendar reflects obligation, not intent. This is how sovereignty erodes, not through confrontation, not through betrayal, through incremental adjustment. You stay later for certain people. You answer faster. You explain more carefully. And each adjustment communicates something. Your time is negotiable. Your boundaries are flexible. Your yes can be purchased retroactively. Patterns train expectation. You become predictable. And predictability without boundary invites escalation. The most dangerous part? You call this loyalty. You call it gratitude. You call it maturity. But maturity does not require self-erasure. Gratitude does not require compliance. Loyalty does not require pre-approval. There is a difference between chosen reciprocity and reflexive repayment. Chosen reciprocity is conscious, timed, proportionate. Reflexive repayment is immediate, unmeasured, status-preserving. And here is the sovereign cost. When you overpay social debt, you distort future negotiation. Because when something truly matters, you hesitate. Your past compliance has set precedent. You trained expectation. So the first firm boundary feels abrupt, even to you. That discomfort tempts you to soften. And that is how one favor becomes years of extraction. Not through force, through internal accounting. Unless that accounting becomes conscious, you will keep funding dynamics you never chose. Nietzsche saw this clearly. Guilt and debt share a root. You think guilt is emotion. It's accounting. You received. Now the body records a balance. No contract was spoken, but internally, the ledger opened. The trigger is subtle, a pause, a reminder framed as generosity, and the system activates. A soft phrase. After everything I did. Nothing aggressive, no overt demand, just activation. And your mechanism fires. Appeasement to preserve equilibrium. You don't want to rupture the image of fairness, so you comply. The cost isn't emotion. The cost is jurisdiction. You lose the right to define what happens next. You surrender pace. You surrender terms. And no one had to force you. Notice the inversion. They remain relaxed. You begin adjusting. They ask once. You negotiate 5 times, internally. That isn't generosity. That's self-administration, and it trains the dynamic. Every time you override hesitation to avoid appearing ungrateful, you issue a reaction receipt. You teach them what your boundaries cost. Nothing. This isn't manipulation, it's subconscious cooperation. The favor isn't always malicious. Sometimes they meant well, but intention does not erase structure. Structure. When value is given without defined terms, obligation seeps into identity. And if your identity depends on fairness, on balance, on being good, you overpay. Watch the micro turn. It's not a big deal. I don't want tension. I'll just do it this once. Each thought moves you away from choice toward compulsion. Your nervous system reads refusal as risk. Risk feels like threat. Threat triggers compliance.
The body chooses safety over respect. This is where the approval tax appears. You pay autonomy to maintain image. You trade leverage for warmth, and the transaction stays invisible. The favor may have been $50. The compliance may cost years. Here is the contrarian truth. Most reciprocity debt is self-imposed. They may expect nothing,
But you project expectation because you would expect something. So you enforce the burden yourself.
This is why polite people feel trapped. They interpret generosity as contract. They interpret refusal as betrayal. But a favor without terms is not a contract. It's an event. The moment you attach obligation, you convert it into leverage. Now watch it play out. You're in a team meeting. Last quarter, a senior colleague stayed late to fix your presentation. You thanked them. You meant it. Now they ask you to absorb part of their workload, temporarily. The room is quiet. Eyes shift. Your mind flashes back to that night. Their tone is casual. They don't mention the favor. They don't need to. You don't want to appear ungrateful. You don't want to jeopardize support. So you say yes.
Sure, I can manage that. Your voice is light. Your stomach drops. You've altered your role without negotiation. You surrendered jurisdiction in public. Next time, the request comes faster. Not because they're evil, because you trained expectation. This is how authority erodes. Quietly, incrementally, without conflict. You think conflict is the threat. It isn't. Precedent is. Every time you accept obligation without defined terms, you reinforce a negotiable frame. Your boundaries appear flexible. Your time appears accessible. Your priorities appear secondary. And once a frame is negotiable, it will be tested. Not aggressively, systematically. We turn philosophy into self-mastery, not reflection, not inspiration, but usable authority under pressure. Pressure isn't volume. It's memory, the subtle weight of remembered kindness. The whisper, "Don't be that person." So you become the person who absorbs. Here is the sovereign cost. If you reclaim power here, you will lose comfort. Warmth may cool. Ease may disappear. You may stop being the easiest person in the room. That is the price. But here is the shift. Gratitude is not obligation. Appreciation is not access. Access is currency. Ambiguity is where obligation multiplies. When terms are unstated, the mind fills them in. When expectations are unclear, you assume the higher cost. You would rather overpay than risk misinterpretation, so you concede early. Not because you were forced, because uncertainty feels heavier than surrender. And that is the leverage point. You cannot eliminate favors. You can eliminate the invisible contract. Start here. The guilt you feel when saying no is rarely about the request. It's about identity. You want to see yourself as fair. You want others to see you as balanced. When refusal threatens that image, friction appears. You misread that friction as moral failure. It isn't. It's boundary formation. Watch the body. Notice your breathing when someone who helped you makes a request. It shortens. You inhale quickly before responding. You smile too early. That isn't politeness. It's preparation to concede. Second signal. You justify before anyone accuses. "I'm really busy this week. I wish I could." You defend against a judgment that hasn't been spoken. Third signal. You offer compensation. "I can't do that, but maybe I could." You downgrade your no into a partial yes. Why? Because appearing ungrateful feels riskier than losing time. Up to this point, you've observed the pattern. Observation isn't enough. Awareness without procedure collapses under pressure.
If this pattern lives in your life, it isn't minor, it's structural. It determines who sets pace, who expects explanation, who feels entitled to compliance. Left unchecked, it reorganizes hierarchy. You call it politeness. Others experience it as access. This isn't about favors, it's about jurisdiction. If you cannot refuse without guilt, you do not control entry.
You are governed by memory, not acting in the present, and that distinction decides authority. Structure. Step 1. Separate event from identity. A favor is an event. It does not redefine who you are. If you absorb it into identity, repayment becomes automatic. Step 2. Audit expectation. Ask privately, was repayment discussed? If not, there is no formal obligation. Discomfort is not agreement. Step 3. Neutral acknowledgement. If they reference the favor, respond simply, "Thank you again for that." Full stop. No behavioral concession. Step 4. Independent evaluation. Assess the request as if history did not exist. Does it align with your priorities? Does it preserve leverage? If not, decline. Clean. Step 5. Contained refusal. I'm not available for that. No spiral, no compensation. Step 6. Silence. If you rush to fill it, the structure collapses. Silence forces processing without cushioning. Step 7. Recalibration. This is where most people fold. The first clean no does not end the pattern. It reveals it. Watch what shifts. Tone tightens. Silence stretches. Warmth cools. Nothing explicit, but your system reads threat. This is the test. If you repair the tension, the old structure returns. If you hold steady, the dynamic reorganizes. Understand this. Recalibration feels like loss before it becomes respect. The first time you decline without explanation, the room cools. Expressions flatten. Warmth reduces. Your instinct is to restore comfort. Don't. You are witnessing dependency adjusting. You are removing unspoken access. Access removal creates friction. Watch another signal. After setting a boundary, do you overcompensate, laugh more, offer help elsewhere? That's reflex stabilization. You're trying to prove you're still good. Goodness does not require reimbursement. Now escalate the case. Same workplace. After you decline the extra workload, the colleague stops inviting you to lunch. You notice. Your mind interprets consequence. You feel the urge to re-offer help. Not from desire, from equilibrium, perceived exclusion, status threat. Fear of status drops within the group. Cost, if you comply now. You confirm that access withdrawal controls you. You teach them that distance creates leverage. That is a dangerous lesson to encode. Instead, you do nothing. You continue performing at a high level. You remain neutral. You do not chase re-inclusion. Within weeks, the behavior stabilizes. Either they re-engage normally, or the distance clarifies hierarchy permanently. Both outcomes are information, and information increases leverage. Another contrarian truth. When you stop overpaying reciprocity debt, some relationships weaken. Not because you changed, because the dynamic was transactional beneath the surface. That recognition can sting, but it is clean pain, not slow erosion. This is where most viewers misunderstand sovereignty. They believe power means dominance. It does not. It means insulation from invisible pressure. The ability to tolerate temporary discomfort without restructuring your boundaries. Breaking this pattern has a rhythm. First, the spike, a flash of guilt, fast, physical.
Then the narrative attacks. You're selfish. You're misreading this. You'll lose support. Let the stories pass. Do not argue with them. Then stabilization. Your body realizes nothing has collapsed. Regulation returns. If you quit at the first spike, sensation governs you. If you wait, agency returns. That is the hijacked nervous system at work. It replaces agency with relief-seeking. Relief feels like virtue, but it is avoidance. Now consider family dynamics. A parent helped you financially years ago. Since then,
They feel entitled to comment on every major decision. Career moves, relationships, living arrangements. You listen patiently. You over-explain. You justify your autonomy. Why? Because somewhere inside, the ledger still shows a balance. Even if you repaid financially, emotionally, you feel indebted. So you grant ongoing access to decision-making authority. That is not respect. That is extended jurisdiction. The shift is surgical. You respond, "I understand your concern. I've decided." No argument, no defense, no debate. The first time you do this, you will feel disloyal. That sensation is withdrawal from inherited authority, not betrayal. Another escalation pattern to anticipate. People may label your boundary. Cold, different, changed. Listen carefully. Changed is often accurate. You are no longer reflexively available. But here is the sovereign cost, truth expanded. You will lose the identity of being the easiest person to rely on. You will lose automatic approval from those who benefited from your elasticity. You may lose proximity to people who preferred you compliant. But what you gain is structural. Predictability on your terms. Clarity in negotiation. Reduced internal noise. When reciprocity becomes conscious rather than compulsive, your yes regains value, because it is no longer assumed, it is chosen. And chosen cooperation carries weight. Let's reinforce the protocol with measurable escalation resistance. During the 3-day experiment, add this layer. Track not only your pauses, track reaction intensity on a scale of 1 to 5. 1. Immediate acceptance. 3. Mild pushback. 5. Emotional pressure or distancing. If multiple 5s appear from the same person, you have identified a high dependency dynamic. That is not a call to sever, it is data. Now refine the refusal structure. Level 1 boundary. I'm not available. Level 2, if pressed. That doesn't work for me. Level 3, if framed as obligation. I don't link past help to current decisions. Short, unemotional, unexplained. Most escalation dissolves by level 2. If you find yourself reaching level 3 frequently, the relationship likely relied heavily on unspoken leverage. Here is the distinction. Reciprocity turns corrosive when memory overrides consent. When yesterday's help dictates today's posture. You are not rejecting kindness, you are removing its authority. Receive without shrinking. Refuse without flinching. When accounting stops, guilt loses its anchor. Watch how quickly the dynamic adjusts. Most people move on. A few will test again. Your consistency determines the outcome. Here's the access ledger moment. Imagine a friend once lent you money during a tight month. You repaid them. Months later, they start calling late at night to vent for hours. You answer every time, not because you want to, because you remember the loan. Access is being granted. Time, emotional bandwidth, attention. They did not explicitly earn ongoing priority, but you are granting it as retroactive repayment. That is not kindness. That is unexamined accounting. The shift is simple. When they call, you let it ring. You text the next day. Can't talk late nights. What's up? Short, neutral, no apology.
You have just recalibrated the ledger.
You honored the past. You protected the present. No hostility required. Now, the 3 do this/not that contrasts. Do evaluate requests independently. Not filter them through memory. Do express gratitude once. Not convert gratitude into compliance. Do decline with brevity. Not negotiate against yourself. 3 tactical scripts. When someone leans on history, I appreciate that. I'm not taking that on. When they imply obligation, that was generous of you. This doesn't work for me. When silence becomes heavy, I'll pass. Stop. Let the air settle. Your body will protest. Your hijacked nervous system will interpret stillness as danger. Let it. Regulation returns faster than you think. What you are feeling is withdrawal from appeasement, not loss of morality. Another contrarian truth. Some people give strategically, not maliciously, strategically. They understand that small generosity creates future leverage. That is not evil. It is human. Your responsibility is not to resent them. It is to remain conscious, because once you say yes out of debt, extraction begins. Your time flows outward, your priorities shrink, and the pattern stabilizes. The 5-question self-test. When someone who helped you asks for something, do you feel tension before answering? Do you reference the past favor mentally? Do you justify preemptively? Do you soften your tone more than usual? Do you regret the yes afterward? 3 or more yes answers indicate conditioned reciprocity. Rapid audit checklist. Notice this week. Who mentions past help indirectly? Where do you over-explain? When do you say yes faster than necessary? Who gains repeated access without renegotiation? Where does your calendar fill with inherited tasks? When does gratitude turn into compliance? How often do you say, "It's fine," when it isn't? Patterns will surface. Now test it. 3 days, no immediate yes. Pause. 5 seconds. 1 question. If there were no history, would I agree? If not, decline. Cleanly. Then measure. Who pushes? Who adjusts? Who withdraws? No stories, data. You'll discover something uncomfortable. Most guilt was internal, and when you stop paying invisible debt, the world doesn't collapse. It recalibrates. You may lose a degree of warmth. You may feel sharper, less easy, more defined. That is not cruelty. That is restored authorship. If the 3-day audit exposes a pattern, extend it. 7 days. No historical weighting in decisions. Every request evaluated on present alignment only. Day 1 and 2, pause and measure. Day 3 and 4, remove over-explanation. If you decline, stop at 1 sentence. No justification spiral. Day 5, eliminate compensatory behavior. No extra warmth after a boundary. No make-up favors. Day 6, delay all non-essential responses by 1 hour. Reclaim pace. Day 7, initiate 1 request of your own without apology. Rebalance direction. At the end of 7 days, review. Did tension increase, or did clarity? Did anyone escalate meaningfully, or did most adjust? This is how you retrain your nervous system, not through reflection, through repetition. The goal is not refusal, it is authorship. When your yes is deliberate, it gains weight. When your no is stable, it gains credibility. And when both are chosen, not triggered, you control access. After 7 days, review the data. Not your feelings, not the stories. The outcomes. Who adjusted? Who resisted? Who withdrew? Authority is revealed through friction, not comfort. Kindness offered freely creates connection.
Kindness repaid reflexively creates hierarchy. Hierarchy without consent becomes control. When favors no longer alter your posture, when gratitude no longer distorts your pace, when refusal no longer threatens your identity, you stop being governable through memory. Return with numbers. 7 days, pauses, clean numbers, recalibrations. Authority compounds when measured, not when remembered.